and then to solvency, BizCon, counterplan, racism, poverty, and any other one.
What do they have?
What do you guys do with my?
I said it right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just when they get to racism. Is that it?
Go for it.
Okay. Overview. We're winning this debate for several reasons. One is the conceded theory arcs on the solvency flow, which means that they're always going to be evaluated first in this round. Two, we're completely winning the util debate, but even if you give them the framework debate, the counterplan is going to capture the moral obligation to take a stance towards racism with the unique net benefit of BizCon. And BizCon is always going to be looked to first in this round because the magnitude of nuclear war and extinction outweigh everything. It even kills rights in the process of all-out extinction. Nuclear radiation inevitably causes dehumanization and deformation, which also acts as the framework in turns case, and timeframe business confidence decreases immediately, triggering the impacts of the disad. And three, case turns ensures no solvency and actually replicate the harms of the advantage. On to solvency. You're going to extend that the only way to gain solvency in their case is to fiat the mindset, which kills clash through utopian policy, and extend my reasons why clash is key to education because of the line-by-line refutation as well as the Socratic dialogue that takes place. Which means that a complete kill education extend across the voting issue on this was conceded, and extend across that overrule Millikan leads to overrule that. Yeah, the private school shift as well as the congressional backlash ensuring the plan can solve. And my analysis is that when the Congress perceive that the Supreme Court is going crazy, they're going to backlash against them, which is a unique net benefit to the state's counterplan because the Congress doesn't perceive the states. On to business confidence. They completely conceded this flow in the 1AR, which means that you're going to give us 100% probability and magnitude on it. You're going to extend the business week that business confidence is high now, as well as the lack of the American Economic Review card that. Extend across the business wire 112706 as small business confidence is growing and cites the polls at 49% rate the U.S. economy as excellent and that business confidence is high now, as well as my answers to the return that the affirmative action program solved their diversity back, as well as there's no evidence that diversity leads to greater productivity. Don't let them extend this turn, as well as extend the link that judicial predictability and consistency on the part of the Roberts Court is key to business confidence, and that radical changes in precedent freak out corporations, as well as extend our Brathwaite 04 card, which warrants that the loss of business confidence spurs economic recession, and the impact of this, which is the Bearden card, that this economic collapse leads to global nuclear war and extinction, as well as the warrants that this actually checks back their dehumanization arguments because of the nuclear radiation that takes place
would cause
deformation, which is an even greater form of dehumanization. On the counterplan. The only thing they say in the 1AR is that the counterplan does not provide long-term solvency compared to the affirmative plan, but there's no warrant or basis or evidence for why it doesn't provide long-term solvency. As they say that it'll be struck down by state, it'll be struck down by legislatures, and there's no chance to solve. But we answered this back in the block that the fiat solves the political will, as well as extend my arguments on the. Don't let them extend the perm. It wasn't extended to 1AR, and you can extend. The Lehman and Nelson card that perm can't solve because duplicate action leads to implementation problems, which warrant that when the federal government, when the Supreme Court and state courts work hand in hand, it leads to a lack of resource allocation, which leads to implementation problems, as well as.
You don't have to answer the perm.
Yeah, and you can extend the solvency on this at Durham 98, that the state courts are the best actors in promoting positive rights. The card warrants that when they're extending positive rights past what the Constitution guarantees, that they're allowed to do it, and which captures 100% of the moral obligation, because we take a stance against racism by having the state courts enact a plan, and extend the Batterson 93 card that Kentucky Cruise state courts can act in opposition to Supreme Court rulings on education. This is a unique instance where they gave a fundamental right to education. The Supreme Court, they're also overruled. All right, on to framework. they just, in the 1 hour, they just pull across the Callahan card, we need to focus on survival. You're going to extend that we need to have human rights, extend Donald's analysis that this is not unique. The federal government has been using this impact calculus for years now, and none of us have been dehumanized and determined 90 impact, as well as extend across that moral absolute, the Wilson 98 card, which warrants that moral absolutism fuels genocide. The card warrants the crusade when we have this absolute moral obligation to take a stance. We, like Donald said, we won't go to Rwanda and stop the genocide because we don't want to entrench imperialism, and extend that states are not moral agents. The words of this are that they don't have the ability to extend moral ideas because there's this intrinsic double blind that takes place. Whose ethic do you utilize? There's as well as extend the Rock 96 card that extinction destroys the framework for morality to exist. The card warrants that in cases of nuclear war extinction, that it causes death and destruction. It introduces cancers, leukemia, and related afflictions, which continue for decades to induce health-related problems, and imperil and produce social disintegration and imperil all civilization, which is also going to access their dehumanization impacts. And extend our K1092 card, which is considered that no matter how slight the risk, nuclear war must be avoided at all costs. And this is a gateway to morality, that life precedes all human rights.
You're on racism?
Yeah.
You can just read straight down.
Okay. And extend the invisibility conceded, which was conceded that the plan would cause minorities to be viewed as invisible, and that's bad because our Hallwin says it's the biggest impact of racism because there's no way of solving this racism. As well as extend our counter-reaction from Congress. It's the Miller 89 evidence, which warrants that following the court decision in Green, he established that new guidelines that include the racially conscious remedies to co-opt Supreme Court decisions. Any new Supreme Court decision will cause Congress to use countermeasures against the president, ending busting the counter plan. This is a unique net benefit of the counter plan because Congress does a backlash against the counter plan, ensuring solvency. And yeah, that's fine.
Good.